What's up, everybody? This is Danny Thompson. This is 9 p.m. on Thursday night, and this is Beyond the Buzzer live here on I-95, Zingo Television, Facebook Live, and everywhere you can hear the sound of my voice. For the next 60 minutes, myself and the man to my right on your television screen, the student of the game, Mr. Kyle Nash, will catch you up on everything that's been going on in the world of sports with a little interesting humor behind it. But like I said, I can't do this without my main man, Kyle. Kyle, how's it going, my friend?
Hey man, listen, I'm glad to be aboard, and I'll put it this way: I'm glad that we have more flavor and comedy on this show than the Washington team's current temporary name. We'll talk more on that later, I'm sure.
Listen, me and Kyle we might end up being devil's advocate here on this football name here, but big shout out to our good friends at Mentality Barbershop, 2611 Pine Hills Road, out in Orlando, Florida. My main man, Corey Lamar, Donald Dio, and Lisa J, and the entire crew over there. If you're in Orange County or if you're anywhere near Orlando, go give them a shout. They're the best barbershop you're going to find in town. Easily said and done. And also to our good friends at Valor Music at itsvalor.us for everything, anything and everything you need when it comes to music, entertainment, social media, marketing, and everywhere in between. Jay Waddell and his wonderful team will get you where you need to be. Trust me. If they can get an artist without any major radio singles, over 1 million plays on Spotify, on top of the fact of having their own playlist with no major record singles out there, you might want to call them to help you out with things like that.
I mean, if they can get a smoke alarm, a Grammy, yo, all I'm saying.
Yes. Like I said, rest in peace, my main man, Beep. Speaking of Valor, they will take care of the first section, the first topic. Oh, by the way, if you're on Facebook Live and you have comments and things you want to say, stop on in. We're not scared to put your comments on there. If any questions or concerns, or my art teacher say headaches or heartburns, put it in there, and trust me, as long as you're not Rodney Richardson, we'll address them easily. All right,
and even if you are, we'll address them. We make fun.
I gotta give my boy Rodney big credit. Big shout outs under construction. So, like I said, the first topic of the night is the What the Buzz segment, sponsored by Valor, as you see them in the corner. All right, so Kyle, normally we would talk about the NBA, but since we'll digress from the NBA tonight, and let's talk Bobby's favorite sport. It's opening day in baseball. Yay! But before the season even started, COVID hit the first home run of the day by taking out Washington National star outfielder Juan Soto about 2:00 this afternoon, tested positive for COVID.
Oh man!
5 hours before the first pitch of opening day.
I hope he wasn't on your fantasy team.
Now, mind you, because he had tested positive for COVID, I'm assuming the rest of his teammates were not around him, and he was the one taken away, and everybody else is still playing. All right. Listen, this has not been a very good auspicious start for baseball, okay? The Toronto Blue Jays don't have a home. Juan Soto's out with COVID, and this is opening day for a sport that is traveling. Yeah. Okay, so listen. I know basketball catches a lot of flack for it being in the bubble. Soccer's done it too. But the difference between soccer and baseball at this point in time is the fact of they're all in the bubble.
Right.
Baseball and the NFL are not in the bubble. The NHL is in the bubble. Baseball and football are not in the bubble. The players can go home to their families, and players have to travel when they're not at home. If you're the Toronto Blue Jays, potentially, since basically the city of Pittsburgh and the state of Pennsylvania say, yeah, it's a good idea, but we're not sharing ballparks, and the entire country of Canada was like, we ain't doing this either. The Blue Jays don't have a home, and the season's already started. Now, at this point, either they're going to be roommates somewhere else, or, hey, Hartford, Connecticut, you might get a baseball team. Charlotte, North Carolina, you might get a baseball team. Listen, as long as you're not touching the state of Florida, Blue Jay fans, or what fans you have in the United States, hey, it might work. But in a positive news,
I'll put it this way. You got to throw this out there, Danny Thompson. Natural disasters do have precedent for starting franchises, right? When I believe it was the Nolans, the whole Hornets situation took place, right? And they got relocated and eventually they started the Thunder because it was such a popular move, right? I mean, that's a thing.
I guess.
You are not buying.
No. I mean, if you said Murder Hornets, maybe, but Thunder? No, that's because of the fact that the Hornets had no home. Okay. They were still they had no home. Katrina and everything else happened. So they went to Oklahoma City. And somebody said, you know what? It's not a bad idea to put some basketball in the middle of Oklahoma because there's nothing else to do but football.
I'm saying. So if Hartford, Connecticut is suddenly somehow successful with the baseball franchises, listen, all I'm saying is the possibilities there, and there is in fact precedent. I'm not saying it's happening, but
listen, there's only one sport that's supposed to be in Hartford, okay?
Hockey?
Go get the Hartford Whalers. Go get Brass Bonanza, and that's all we need in life, okay? I want a Whalers jersey for crying out loud.
True, but you have to admit, brother, there are some college basketball fans who would severely disagree with that point.
Like I said, the only professional sport they need in Connecticut, besides the WWE, is the Hartford Whalers. Outside of that, you need nothing else.
You got the WNBA. Yeah, do you not?
Yeah, the Connecticut Sun. I'll give the Connecticut Sun that. All right. The Connecticut Sun actually might beat half the teams in the NBA. Thank you. The Hartford Whalers. There we go. If I had Brass Bonanza, I'd be playing it right now. All right.
I check with the production artillery work. That's Beep. That's Wales. Wow. Keep going.
Beep, Wales, oh my. So opening day in baseball.
Real quick, guys. Real quick.
Yes.
In my opinion, best logo in sports.
I mean,
not bad.
Listen. It's a whale for crying out loud. We have not had a whale. It's a walking whale in Hartford. It makes perfect sense. I know the Whalers moved to Carolina and became the Hurricanes. I understand that. All right. Listen, Hartford needs a team. We need the Whalers, and I need Brass Bonanza. All three of them will be basically at one time. And see, as Rodney Richardson in the chat has DMX, and that's another topic for another type of show. We're not going there with that. Major League Baseball is opening day today, so guess what? We'll give a baseball quick preview. All right, it's a 60-game season going on. Teams are traveling. They're trying to play as many division games as possible, and only interleague. So you won't see a lot of cross-conference matchups. So you won't see the Twins maybe travel out to Anaheim, or you might not get the Houston Astros fighting a camera, okay, and not cheating, okay? We won't get any of those matchups this season, all right? But what we will get is basically a condensed season where it will be a lot more regional games to try and keep the teams in kind of their same locations, in their same divisions at a regular time. So 3 things to watch for in the Major League Baseball season. Number 1, Mike Trout is playing. He went back and forth because his wife is pregnant, and he might not have played the entire season. He is going, and he's going to play as long as he can. He might even finish the whole season. All right. The second part is there's a potential fact of expanding playoffs in the middle of this whole thing.
Oh, God.
10 teams in the playoffs now, potentially going to 16 if they can vote for this. Listen, I mean, if it's 16 teams, you might as well go NCAA tournament style and include everybody at this point. You're a playoff team. You're a playoff team. Hey, even the New York Mets, who are my favorite team, are a playoff team right now.
We're starting to use the Oprah method. You get a seed, and you get a seed. Everybody gets a playoff seed. Woo!
I mean, that's really where we're at this point in the game right now. So the third major story is you have guys like Garrett Cole, who just got a huge contract. Mookie Betts signed arguably one of the biggest contracts in professional sports. 12 years, $85 million. Here's the crazy thing. Pat Mahomes signed for over $500 million about 2 weeks ago. I'll still take Mookie Betts' contract over Pat Mahomes' contract any day of the week.
Well, the money's more guaranteed, for one. And two,
yes.
And two, I would love to be a dude that makes that much money whose last name is Betts. I'm just saying.
Listen, for a guy who doesn't hit 40 home runs, he's making over $30 million a season and got a $65 million signing bonus. He got $65 million in the middle of Corona season.
Just saying.
On top of that, here's the best part about Mookie Betts' contract. Not the $380 million, not the $65 million signing bonus, but the fact of, because Betts is considered a Tennessee resident, he doesn't have to pay state taxes on the $65 million. He's living in LA, playing for the Dodgers, but he's a Tennessee state. He's from Tennessee.
Yeah, he's a Tennessee state employee, so therefore
he pays Tennessee taxes, which means supposedly it's a no-tax state. # he's winning.
Charlie Sheen ain't winning that much.
Listen, all I know is that right now you have the potential of the Cleveland Indians making a change with their name. They're discussing everything with the Native Americans to find a better solution for the name. The Braves have got rid of the tomahawk chop, but they're not changing that logo anytime soon. Not a chance.
I don't think they should either. I mean, that's a name that pays tribute, but I digress.
Giancarlo Stanton is hitting home runs at other cities. Literally, the game started out in Washington. He hit a home run to Virginia earlier tonight, about 470 feet in front of an empty stadium. Best part about the home run was around the home run trial on third base, they handed him the ball and he ran to the home plate. The best part was he probably gained more yards on that one play than any New York Jet running back this season.
Oh my gosh, that's just a senseless hate crime. It's accurate, but that's just what the Jets. Like, I could see one thing if you were making fun of Rodney and doing your kittens thing, but
listen, it's New York. I have to do it. On top of that, the Mets. The best part of opening day is the Mets are in first place. My New York Mets are in first place until they actually take the field probably tomorrow, and then we'll be back to where we're supposed to be. The season is tomorrow. All right. So also the Houston Astros are going to defend the World Series championship. The Washington Nationals are defending the World Series championship. By the way, against the Houston Astros, the Astros got penalized for all the stuff they have. And Dodger fans, please stop complaining. That World Series will not get overturned. And you had no chance to win that series anyway. Okay. All right. Now that we've gotten baseball out the way, Sorry. I know, Bobby, it wasn't exactly the best baseball tribute, but this is a complete mess. I got a feeling this season might not even end. The season's going to end because if players are not quarantined and players get to go home, you're asking for every bit of trouble. And Miami already had issues with the dugout because somehow something went wrong with the dugout, and the players had to be in the dugout during their warm-up games last week. Yes, this is baseball, ladies and gentlemen.
But hey, in the words of our good friend Bobby Blackjack, at least Aaron Judge is hitting home runs.
Aaron Judge leads Major League Baseball in hits as of 9 p.m. Hey, listen. Speaking of leading, basketball is on right now. The NBA bubble has officially opened up for business, and there's also been foolishness, just like baseball, inside the bubble. You're wondering, how are we 7 games into the bubble, and how do we already have foolishness? Well, I'll start it off. Bol Bol. Yes, Bol Bol, the son of Manute Bol, the tallest player in the history of the NBA, made his NBA debut yesterday in Denver's 89-82 victory over the Washington Wizards. Listen, Bol Bol was out there. Now, Bol Bol's like 7'2", 7'3", Kyle. He's out there running the point. He's blocking shots, hitting three-pointers, and making no-look passes. He's the first rookie in NBA history in a preseason exhibition game to amass over 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 blocks in a single game. Bol finished with 16 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists as the 8-player Nuggets took care of the Washington Wizards by 7 points. Before I get into Bol's craziness, the Nuggets had even more craziness. The majority of the Nuggets guards were out due to either COVID, still getting self in shape, and the fact that it's the beginning of preseason. The Nuggets played with 8 players. They only had technically 1.5 guards available yesterday.
How does one have half a guard?
Because the guy's a swing player. He's not technically a guard. He plays the 2 and the 3, the 3 and the 4. He plays different positions.
Gotcha.
Mike Malone's starting lineup yesterday, Kyle, the shortest player in the starting lineup was Paul Millsap, power forward Paul Millsap at 6'8". He was the smallest player in the starting lineup. For those who play NBA 2K, this was a going to the park and playing a bunch of tall people for no reason. The Nuggets started Nikola Jokic at point guard. Their all-star center was playing point guard at 7 foot tall. Jeremy Grant at 6'9", 6'10" was playing shooting guard. Bol Bol at 7'2" was at small forward. Paul Millsap was at power forward, and then you had one of the Plumlees, Mason Miles or whatever Plumlee it was, playing at center. That's another 7-footer. There's 3 of them.
Okay, good. I was about to say, it sounds like for a minute you were about to approach where the center was a shorter guy, but they have that many 7-footers. Listen, I didn't know you could run the jumbo package in the NBA. That's all.
They ran the jumbo package, and the thing was they were running up and down the court with fast break opportunities.
Wow.
So, Nikola Jokic finished with 17.7 rebounds, 7 assists. But back to Bol Bol. All right. Bol had this great game, and the problem was the post-game presser with Bol Bol after his NBA debut was delayed. You're wondering why by chance. Was it COVID testing? Nope. Was it the fact of was he not feeling good? Nope.
I mean, that's a lot of work a big man did. He could have been sore.
No, Bol Bol was subjected to a random drug test at the end of the game yesterday.
You balled out way too hard. Come on, man.
Bol Bol was given a drug test after the game yesterday.
You know what though? If I'm him, I'm not even mad. Like, what better you be paid tribute? Yo, listen, you balled out so hard. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to test you. I'm telling my grandchildren about that mess. I'm just saying.
You balled out so good that we had to give you a drug test just to make sure you're that good, or you were on something. Listen, I think the part of the drug test was, I think they figured this out when Bol Bol literally in the same possession. It was 2 possessions, Kyle. One where he, I want to say it was Mo Wagner, tried to drive in on Bol Bol. Bol Bol blocked his shot, got the ball, dribbled down the court, looked off Nikola Jokic, and fired out a 3-pointer. The ball never left his hand.
I mean,
he literally went from block to 3-pointer in like 6 steps.
Listen, all I'm saying is someone comes up to me, you must be on something. Yeah, check out NBA Jam. I was on fire. Okay, that's what I was on. Anyway.
And then there was a second play where Bol Bol, of course, makes a block, gets the ball, goes down the court, and hits a no-look pass. I want to say it was Troy Daniels cutting to the basket for a layup.
That's the tallest rendition of Billy Hoyle I've ever seen. And if you don't know who Billy Hoyle is, Google it.
It was like watching Bol Bol was like watching his dad, Manute Bol. Same structure, same size, same length, and that same 3-point shot. Just Bol's got a little more finesse to it than his dad did. But yet and still, the Bulls really won. The Bulls won the day yesterday. All right, other games around the entire the bubble. Yeah, I know, I got it. So other games around the bubble. The Los Angeles Lakers just finished up their game against the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, listen, it doesn't even matter who won the game. Why? Because LeBron James, Anthony Davis didn't even play in the second half. But here's why I will tell you about this. LeBron James, 12 points, 5 assists in about 16 minutes. Anthony Davis, 12 points and 2 steals. What the real thing was, LeBron James looked like LeBron James, Anthony Davis like Anthony Davis, and the Lakers were up by 12, like 11 points at halftime. All right. The good news for Mavericks fans is Luka Doncic didn't look as fast as I thought he was going to look. He actually had movement, had 13 points. Kristaps Porzingis, they looked like they were in better shape than what they were saying. Okay. I don't know what they were doing in the bubble, but they look in a lot better shape than what they were. I think Dallas would be okay.
Did they get tested?
No, nobody got drug tested right now for the Lakers. All right. Now, who should have been drug tested was the Brooklyn Nets with the performance they put on last night, but we'll get to that in a second. Other games that happened actually today, which is Thursday, early games, the Milwaukee Bucks, without Eric Bledsoe, Dante DiVincenzo is back in the lineup, defeated the San Antonio Spurs earlier this afternoon. What you really need to know is Giannis attempted 2 3-pointers and one hit the side of the backboard without hitting the rim. But then Giannis also does what he does best is he gets the ball at the left corner, takes one dribble, takes a second leap, and then just dunks over people.
I mean,
everything's back to normal.
Exactly.
All right. The Indiana Pacers and the Portland Trail Blazers played a tight game down in the second game of the early session. What you want to know is that Jusuf Nurkic and Zach Collins are back in the lineup, and they look good for Portland. Hassan Whiteside was out. Didn't really need him today. Damian Lillard and those guys didn't play but 20 or so minutes. The Blazers have their 2 bigs back. Now it's game time. No matter what Damian Lillard did today, he was okay at times. CJ McCollum was fine. The Blazers are dangerous. On the Pacers side of things, Victor Oladipo was playing. Oladipo knocked out a couple of shots and looked kind of springy and wiry. Malcolm Brogdon looked a lot more healthier. Listen, these games are about getting guys in shape and getting guys healthy. The fact of Oladipo showing bounce and hitting 3-pointers and playing defense is a good sign for the Pacers.
Huge.
Let's rewind back to yesterday. All right. In the game between the Pelicans and the Nets, what you want to know is that both teams showed up and both teams showed up. That's it. For those keeping track at home, Brandon Ingram played 11 minutes. The Pelicans won by 30. The Nets should be sent home because of this. Okay, they didn't have Jamal Crawford. They didn't have their guys, but the Nets looked pretty bad. Okay.
Yeah. 30-point beatdown. What more need be said? And
there was no Zion Williamson. And basically, Brandon Ingram, Drew Holiday's guys really didn't play into the second half because they didn't need to.
Right.
All right. The Miami Heat, sans Bam Adebayo and Kendrick Nunn, who officially arrived to the bubble as we were having, as Kyle and I were having the show the other night, they officially arrived to the bubble. Good news is they should be ready to go by Saturday as long as they pass the COVID test yesterday and today, which should be good to go for Saturday. But the Heat hit 14 3-pointers against the Sacramento Kings.
Dang.
They hit 14 3-pointers in Duncan Robinson and knocked down 5 and had a game high 18 in the game. On the news for the Kings, remember the Kings did not have De'Aaron Fox because of an ankle injury. Marvin Bagley's out for the rest of the season. They were missing Rashard Holmes due to COVID and chicken wings, and they also are missing a couple other players. Rashard Holmes, we now know, is the man who decided to break COVID for lemon pepper and barbecue wings.
Lemon pepper? That's not even a good combination.
Listen, he said the wings were pretty solid. That's all I'm going to say. It better be worth it because he get an extra 10 days of quarantine because of some wings. He better have got him from Ale House. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, well, that depends on what flavor you're ordering. I mean, listen,
lemon pepper and barbecue is fine with me, but you better get him from Ale House. If you got him from anywhere else, I promise you, if he got him from Wingstop, from Wingstop, I'm gonna be growl.
The lemon pepper wings at Gators, you got to give them their.
Listen, okay, it says Gators. I'm understandable. If you get caught from Wingstop, we got a problem.
Oh yeah, right. But what is it? Pizza Hut wing? No, yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, if you get it from Pizza Hut or Domino's or any of those places, you deserve to get not just 10 days but 25 days. All right. The Kings had their moments in the game, a little sloppy at times. Buddy Hield was knocking down shots, but they're going to need their guys back if the Kings have any questions or decide to do anything. We talked about Bol and his drug testing, and let's go back to the first game of the day. The Orlando Magic and the LA Clippers played a very interesting game, a very up and down affair. So the notes from this game is the Clippers did not have Patrick Beverley, who left the team right after our show on Monday, literally left due to a family emergency, left the bubble. We'll be back soon. Don't know when. All right. The Magic actually were winning this game in the first quarter. They looking spring like chickens down the court, doing the things they need to. Nikola Vucevic was grabbing rebounds, getting putbacks. You even had James Ennis scoring, and we have Michael Carter-Williams signing. Then the second quarter happened, and Paul George started knocking down shots, and the Magic just did what the Magic do best. Well, the good news is no one got hurt, and the bad part was Mo Bamba only played 6 minutes due to conditioning.
Oh,
is he out of shape? No, because he put on 25 pounds and during quarantine of muscle. So he's got to get used to his body. But when he did play, he looked really big and looked really athletic. That's scary.
That's a change, yeah.
Yeah, and Michael Carter-Williams scoring 16 points is also scary. Good news for the Magic when they get back on Saturday when they play LeBron James and Los Angeles Lakers at 12. The word is Markelle Fultz should be good to go. So the Magic will have their starting point guard Markelle Fultz, and the rotation will become more streamlined. And I'll be honest with you, Weston Wandu actually played pretty. Actually impressed me with his wiriness in the second half. All right, now we've caught you up on the NBA bubble. So we've talked bubble, we've talked baseball. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick little 30-second break, and when we get back, we're going to talk pigskin. This is Beyond the Buzzer on I-95 and Zingo Television. We're right back in about 30 seconds. I think
You know, I've never seen a show host be shut down by a Siberian tiger before. That was pretty badass.
I mean, listen. What can you say about Siberian tiger? They rock.
Who said you were a lesser man that happened? I just said I never saw it before.
Hey, listen, first time for everything. Speaking of first time for everything, Kyle, great segue into the first time for everything. For the first time, I can only remember in any type of professional sports where, you know, before I get to this, questions in the chat. Rodney Richardson, is Michael Porter Jr. hurt again? He was out with the COVID situation, him and Torrey Craig. I want to say he's back with the team as of now. I know Gary Harris is not with the team yet. If Porter is there, he should be available by the weekend. All right. Now, as I was saying, as we're digressing into the next segment, the next topic, yes, things I've never seen before. Well, there's some things I've never seen in the world of sports. I've never seen figure skating live. I've never seen my beloved Atlanta Falcons win a Super Bowl. And I've also never seen a team not have a team nickname. Once again, the Washington, whatever you want to call them. Now, I'm sorry, the Washington football team has now been named the Washington football team for the duration of the 2020 season. An unprecedented move right before the season started. The team in Washington decided to retire the name Redskins among major pressure by investors, team folks, major companies, and basically folks who have money to get the name changed. It's about time, by the way. Well, we don't know how the rebranding process started, but here's the thing. There won't be no rebrand this season, ladies and gentlemen. The Washington football team announced today that they're now going to be known as the Washington football team for this season. So what's going to happen with the helmets, by the way? The logo's gone and replaced with a number. So the colors are the same, and you'll see the word Washington written across their jersey. Well, there is once again the Washington football team, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so Kyle, I'm going to let you lead this one. Do you love the name Washington football team? And what is that? When you heard the words Washington football team, what did that make you think?
Changed my life. No, this is ridiculous. You're trying to tell me, like, I shouldn't say I, on this very show, Danny Thompson, what poetic about all the potential that they could have if they turn around and do the proper thing and do what my opinion is the right thing and change and call the team the Washington Red Tails. But let's say it isn't. The one thing you could actually make happen going into the season to help boost some of your particular what's his word? Revenue in that situation is the selling of apparel. Not only do you have apparel now that you can ship out at salvage value, you also have new apparel that you would have come in nice and fresh. And granted, I get it, DC franchise, they have their own limited fans. I see what you did there. Okay, don't get me started on the Seattle Kraken in the NHL and how bad a name that is. We'll talk about that at some point, I'm sure, Rodney. But the opportunity for us to step in and actually correct revenue if you're a member of the DC franchise is now out the window. I mean, I appreciate that there is precedent for the number on the helmet thing and that Alabama has done that as part of their football thing, and that's fine. But you couldn't at least say, hey, we're going with this name? Nah, I'm not feeling that.
I mean, listen, with everything going on with COVID and everything else, here's the thing. A rebranding process takes over a year. Okay. I mean, ask the Charlotte Bobcats to turn into Charlotte Hornets. It took over a year to get this done. All right. There is no way they were going to get a new name, logo, and everything else in the next 20 days. Okay. You still got to go through merchandising. You still got to go through every other process possible. All right. The Washington football team is the best thing we're going to get this year. My whole thing was if they knew this is going to be a process, and if this was going to be a process going forward, they knew that. What they should have did was they should have retired the name at the end of the season. They should have just said, okay, this is last year. We're going to use the Redskins name. We're going to start a new process to find a new name. Unfortunately, the Washington Redskins have done what the Washington Redskins always do and fumble in this situation. How did they fumble? Well, now you don't have a football team nickname. You have no mascot. You're now the laughing stock of the NFL for the second time in a week. Good job, Dan Snyder. Not really. It's going to take a while to get this name changed. All right. You got it because you have to really go through a name change. You got to find the right things. You got to get the trademarks. You got to get the branding. Who knows if we're going to keep the same colors? You know, it's too late in a COVID-filled world right now to really just have these things ready to go. All right. I mean, if people thought that the Redskin name was going to change, it wasn't. Our good friend Karita Parks at 3 Point Conversion, who is a PR representative, said the same thing. She's been in PR for a long time, and she mentioned, I think on a post a couple days ago, that when it comes down to name changing and branding, it will take a while.
Yeah, that's no. I'm glad she pointed out too, and actually, she caught flack for that in the post. I actually commented to kind of defend her. No, guys, she's not saying she supports it. She's trying to explain why there is some validity to why it would take so long to change the name. We're talking millions, tens to hundreds of millions in revenue impacted here. This is no small undertaking, folks.
Exactly. Hello, Precious, because she said, "Hey, fellas," in the chat. All right, so. Yes, it takes it's nothing easy because as we've learned, because if you look at professional sports, we've had two teams in two different professional sports drop their name and logo within the last 40 hours. We had Charlotte here in Charlotte, North Carolina, their new MLS team, they dropped their name and their colors yesterday, which is Charlotte FC with a different color set. And then today out in Seattle, the newest NHL franchise, the Seattle Kraken, which I do love that name, by the way. I love the name. Yes, because it represents lots of the heritage when it comes to the sea, a lot of the stuff that goes on in Seattle. You got to read. It's actually interesting.
No, I know what they're going for, but it just sounds wrong. Listen, all I could say is if you like that name, it sounds like you're smoking Kraken. That's what it is.
Listen. The whole entire name. I can't. But the whole entire name of of Seattle. Of the hockey team Seattle, it's great. The Kraken House. I mean, listen, what are you going to call that new arena they have out there?
The Enterprise.
Listen. You've got so many new names you can use for Seattle's hockey team. It is going to be glorious. Okay, listen, if they start winning, it's going to be even better. All right. Seattle and all the names with the Kraken is going to be phenomenal. All right, I love it. Like I said, and I'm actually going to get one of those Seattle Kraken jerseys. I'm a hockey guy, so I like the Kraken jersey. I like the fact of the S, the little dragon, little blowing fire, and the name Kraken on there. I can rock with it.
Yeah,
I've seen worse jerseys.
But is it better than Shades the Solar Bear? I'm just asking.
I mean, really, down here. Chubby Checker is that dude down here. So I mean, up here. So I mean, Chubby Checker and Shades, they're both bears. They're both they're both polar bears, and they both represent hockey. I think it's a tie there. The only thing that Shades has is a pair of nice little blue blocker shades that he has on.
Listen, how was Oakley not in on that? I'm just anyways.
Listen, unleash the Kraken, unleash the dragon. The jokes will come. All right, I'm not disagreeing with that.
I appreciate that you do have the opportunity for the voice of Liam Neeson to be involved with your franchise. Release the Kraken. I get it.
Listen, if he says that and they come on the ice, come on, Kyle.
How do you not do that though? Listen, if they could put friggin' Will Ferrell, okay, beating on the cowbell in Panthers Arena, they damn sure better come up with Liam Neeson. That's all.
Listen. If they come on the ice,
yes.
If they come on the ice with a dragon, and then you have Liam Neeson just read like a monologue, kind of James Earl Jones-esque, like a 30-second monologue. At the end, he goes, "Unleash the Kraken," and the thing comes up, and the players come running out with fire everywhere. I am all for it.
See, you're going even further than me. I just want.
If you're going to do it, you got to do it right.
I just want them to take that one clip from the reboot of what is that movie? Not the Argonauts. It's
couldn't even tell you.
I know it. I literally had it in my head and now it's gone. But it's A Clash of the Titans. There we go.
Okay.
I just want that one clip out of the remake of Clash of the Titans. Release the Kraken. I mean, all the other stuff's great. Don't get it wrong, okay? I get it. In Shakespeare, when there was a battle scene, it says they fight. But you look at some of the movies, it's a much bigger thing, and it comes from 2 words in a playbook. I get it. But whatever they build around, they must build around Liam Neeson. That's all. Liam Neeson's is my. You get it.
I'm just saying, like I said, you give a 30-second monologue to lead into Release the Kraken. I'm all for it. Kyle, I'm with you. But the thing is, you just can't say Release the Kraken and then that's it. You got to have something building up to it.
Sure. No,
It's like every Liam Neeson movie. You got to get to that one scene. You got to build up to Liam Neeson's big moment in each scene. You got to do it in Seattle for this one.
see, you're hoping you're going to get the monologue from Taken before Release the Kraken. You're just getting greedy. You're not going to be able to lump all that together. That's going to take better.
It's 30 seconds for crying out loud.
Hey, how much money does a Super Bowl commercial cost? That's all I'm telling you.
If Liam Neeson costs about that much of a Super Bowl commercial, we all got problems in America right now.
That's a good point.
Now, here's the serious part of the problem with the Washington football team is okay. Now, the good news is the delay of the football team name is good because after that real estate investor pretty much trademarked everything, you got plenty of time to make that phone call to get the actual name. Because I promise you this right now, if this team is called the Washington Sentinels, if you think the jokes about the Panthers are bad, wait till I get my hands on the Washington Sentinels.
Oh, dude, I would buy a Flacco jersey in a heartbeat if they do the Washington Sentinels.
I will listen. If they name this team the Washington Sentinels, I promise you, I will go get a Shane Falco jersey and I will wear it on this show.
You know what? You get your Shane Falco jersey. I'll get Jumbo, the sumo wrestler center. Boom.
Yes.
Let's do this.
If I'm either going to go Joe, you get my man as Shane Falco, or I'm going Clifford Franklin. It's one of the two.
See, I'm thinking I would get either Jumbo or John Favreau's character, the crazy linebacker, Danny. I forget his last name, but
get the ball. Just get the ball. Get the ball. Yes, exactly. Get the ball.
It would be appropriate. I got you the ball. Get the ball. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Nice hit.
But mind you, if they start losing, boy, they're gonna call for Shane. I wonder what the fans call for Shane Falco during the middle of the game if Dwayne Haskins gets bad. Lisa Kraken, someone hits the bell and the lights drop and the crowd goes wild.
Rodney gets it.
Listen, if you're going to cut the lights off, have the Undertaker's music come out there and really go complete over the top. Listen. If you're going to do it, listen. Vegas did it right. If you ever watch any Las Vegas Golden Knights hockey game, their entrance is a cross between Medieval Knights and anything you see from a Michael Bay movie inside of a hockey arena. You have people jousting at center ice.
Yeah,
you have jousting. Okay, you have fire.
See, now you got to bring up jousting. Why did UCF get rid of jousting? I actually performed in that pregame show. I'm sorry.
Speaking of UCF, the Sun Belt Conference and other forms of college football. Thanks, Kyle, for that segue. The Sun Belt and the AAC have still decided that they're going to delay Olympic sports in the AAC's case until September 1st. And the commissioner of the Sun Belt has said that we need sports because the values of sports is what is needed in America right now. I don't know which one is more weirder or the one I want to snap on more. Kyle, I'm going to let you go first before I go on this one. Kyle, take it away.
I can actually relate. I'm not saying it's a smart statement. Let me be clear. The fact you said that in the public arena means you're a fool. But then again, hey, you aspired to your point is that you're a conference commissioner trying to wax poetic. That's a you problem. I mean, listen, all I could tell you is we had more verbal magic in my alley-oop to Danny on that segue than you'll ever have. But what I'm trying to tell you is this. What I think he means is the American people out there right now in the arena and with the division and all that, they could stand to utilize some of the values you learn playing football, playing a team sport in society today. Now, obviously, to say that is an oversimplification and kind of a Hallmark movie, and I get all that, but that's what I think what he was groping for is we need the Utes out there to quote Vincent LaGuardia Gambini. We need the Utes out there to go ahead and learn these lessons through sport. That's what he's claiming. At least that's what I speculate that he's trying for in a best case scenario. Obviously, he flubbed it, but I mean, when I put it that way, you could at least see what he might be trying for, right? I mean, it makes kind of sense, but yeah.
In an unprecedented move that's worse than the Scott Norwood field goal in the Super Bowl or the John Casey kickoff in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, the Sun Belt just doesn't understand what's going on.
No.
Okay. Here's the thing. I have the issue with the Sun Belt Conference. There's nothing wrong with the student athletes and what they're doing. I understand what they're saying. Number one, the Sun Belt is not the SEC. Okay. No. All right. The common person can't name two universities in the Sun Belt Conference. Okay. When the Sun Belt plays, it's on a Wednesday night on ESPN 7 with their game of the week at 8 p.m. on ESPN 7. Okay. They don't even make the Ocho. They make ESPN 7.
Sir, listen. Dodgeball is in the off season.
Listen, I did not want to put the Ocho into this. I love the Ocho. Okay. What I'm saying is no one pays attention to Sun Belt football. So even if they decide to go back, would that really help the idea of sports in America, the Sun Belt Conference? No. Okay. All right. The Sun Belt is also played in states that have some of the highest COVID rates in the country.
That is true. Yes.
Okay. You got schools in Florida. You got schools in North Carolina. You have schools in South Carolina, Georgia, basically the entire Sun Belt. And you want to play college football. Please take a number, sit down, and go somewhere. The AAC is just trying to figure this out because UCF is the only thing relevant in the conference when it comes to college football. Because Memphis is now on a downslope because their head coach decided to take over Florida State, which was arguably might not be the smartest move possible in his case.
But his case. Yeah, and Mike Norvell could be the last domino. I mean, hell, they had a good quarterback 3 years ago. They had a good running back 2 years ago. Devery Henderson's a beast.
They have good. See, they had good. I think Gibson, the receiver, he's playing in the NFL on Sundays. Well, he's playing for the Redskins now. What I'm saying is, Mike Norvell, arguably the best coach in the conference. I know UCF's main guy, not Frost, but I'm just Josh Heupel is arguably the best. I think Mike Norvell might have been the best head coach in the conference based upon talent and what he had to work with. He's gone.
Yeah, no, he's a good coach.
Houston is still in transition. Their quarterback is completely gone. Their Heisman Trophy guy, another person that would put the AAC on the map, is gone. Okay, so be honest with you, the AAC should be one of those conferences. I'll be honest with you, to fall in line. UCF is the conference's best school, is in the middle of the state of Florida.
Right.
And then guess what? Also in Texas, which there's some AAC schools, there have been 74,000 cases of COVID reported in the last 7 days.
That's a better point. And actually, by the way, the conference is in the middle of moving their headquarters to Texas. And on top of that, the team that's emerging in the Western Division out there, Tulane, located in Louisiana, which wasn't doing too hot with COVID either earlier in the stages. So listen, I get what you're throwing down.
At this point, I just think, listen, half of college football is saying no college football. The rest of them needs to go ahead and make plans. The ACC and everybody else just need to go ahead and fold up shop. Let's have this conversation again in 2021. Okay, I'm all for the idea of spring football at this point. Listen, the kids are going to have issues going to class, and potentially we haven't even gotten to phase 2 yet. All right. Listen, the NFL is going to be a disaster case, and we can discuss that next week on Monday on the show. But what I'm saying is, there's a potential. You got to think: are these college kids going to get the same testing as the NFL guys are? They're not.
They're not. The only ones that might are the major players, but there's a lot of places where you have the smaller institutions.
But the AAC, the AAC, but especially the Sun Belt.
Right. Well, I mean, just as an example, other smaller, air quotes, smaller conferences than the Power Five, right? The MEAC, which features FAMU, who's on UCF schedule, for example. They are opting out of the season, if I've heard correctly. So there's precedent for a smaller conference to step back. But I could definitely see if I'm one of the many players that's on the many watch lists for national awards and things like that, I'm being a member of a quote non-Power Five and being discriminated therein by scouts because of that, and NFL coaches because of that, I might be willing to risk it to get the exposure. I mean, granted, I don't know that I personally would be that guy, but I could see a student athlete being into that.
I mean, Rodney Richardson just mentioned the NFL players are being reckless, no mask. Listen, the NFL still hasn't figured out guidelines on how to get these guys tested on a regular basis.
Right.
And to be honest with you, listen, these guys are going home to their families. Yeah, FAMU just changed conferences, but yeah, to your point, they're in the SWAC now. But that doesn't start until 2021. They still have to finish out the fiscal sports year in the MEAC for the rest of this year. They're going in the future. But that Rodney is correct, but to Kyle's point, they're still in the MEAC for another year.
There yet, and don't worry though, Rodney. If they were in the SWAC, the next domino to fall after the MEAC was the SWAC. See,
I think at that point, I think the SWAC might have passed the MEAC.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think the SWAC's about to pass the MEAC when it comes to the more prestigious conference.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I could see an argument for that 100%.
But to the point I was saying is with the NFL and the recklessness of the NFL players, the fact that they're still trying to figure out how this is going to work, how it's going to work. The players have not gotten consistent testing, and to be honest with you, where are you going to come up with all these tests from? If the rosters go to 80, because guess what? There is no preseason because the preseason was clipped. Yes, rest in peace to the MEAC as well as rest in peace to the NFL preseason.
Yeah,
there's no preseason at this point. So rosters are now being expanded to 80. Nothing wrong with the extra players on the roster, but here's the problem. You're going to have to find COVID tests twice a week potentially for 80 players on a team plus everybody else that needs to be with the team. And this is going to have to go for 32 teams in the NFL plus personnel plus travel. There's a lot of COVID tests going to be coming around here.
And that's without even talking about the press, by the way.
Listen, press conference will be done virtually. I've been doing them for the last week and a half.
All right. I mean, for the games themselves. Like, listen, I'll put it this way, Danny. I'm not so worried about camps and all that. I honestly think, from what I've heard from those who are on the ground that have more insight than us, that the facilities for individual teams are handling it pretty well. Where I start to get worried about the stuff you're talking about is when inevitably these teams start doing inter-squad scrimmages in lieu of preseason games, right? Because they did this last season back before COVID was even a thing that we were aware of, right? And they were having good success with it. It was something that was starting to pick up in the NFL, and it's even been hinted to replace preseason games at one point. I feel like it's pretty much locked that teams are going to try to do that somehow to try to get tuned up. I say all that to say, when that starts to happen, that's when I'll get worried if they don't have their stuff together. And we said Monday, they still got a little bit of time, but there's a reason not to be confident in their policy thus far.
Baseball did the same thing by having teams play together that won't play on the schedule, like the Astros and Royals. They had the Yankees and Mets. They had those teams work out together because they're close by. I can see, like, for example, like the Dolphins and the Buccaneers getting together,
or the Jags.
Or as long as you're not on their schedule, the Buccaneers and the Dolphins getting together for some practice, they do work. I know the Buccaneers and Jaguars have done it for years. Mm-hmm. I would even say Atlanta and I would say probably Atlanta and Jacksonville, because Carolina is too close in the division, or you go Atlanta and Tennessee. As long as you're not in the same division, like the Giants and Jets, Steelers and Eagles, you're trying to keep the teams. Like the Browns and Bengals, you got to figure out that situation. Maybe you send the Bengals to play the Colts, and the Browns maybe to Detroit or something. You figure out ways to keep the travel mitigated and keep these teams away from the potential opponents.
Yeah, I mean, Rodney, that's what we're preaching, that travel is the problem. Hell, that's what I was preaching, right? I'm not worried until the scrimmages start. And what will make those happen? Travel. Rodney, you're spot on, man.
Exactly. Speaking of spot on, traveling, we're about to make a trip and travel, Mr. Dash. We're about to travel to good old Mount Rushmore.
Boy, that was a segue.
It's been better at this stuff every week. All right. So for those who've not tuned into the show before, what has always happened, what me and Kyle do every single show towards the end of the show is we go over Mount Rushmore. And we mean Mount Rushmore. We're not talking about presidents here. I always give Kyle and I go over a topic every single week, whether it be sports, pop culture, food, or whatever we decide to come up with. And we give Mount Rushmore. So the top four or the four best in what we decide in whatever category. The good news is Kyle never knows the topic until literally this part of the show.
All
right. So Kyle, this week's Mount Rushmore, listen, we've talked about leadership. All right. Daniel Snyder.
Not so much.
I mean, Major League Baseball, Bob Manfredi in baseball, the AAC Sun Belt commissioner. So those have really been shown as good leaders so far in particular areas. But this topic is talking about people who are leaders and also the heads of everything. So Kyle, this week's Mount Rushmore is the Mount Rushmore of TV dads.
Interesting. Okay. That's wow. This is a loop. Okay.
I love it.
First of all, before I even get started, I'm going to have to enter the first thing and the premise of separating the art from the artist. Because listen, I don't care what the actors' offenses were in or off the camera and out of character.
We're talking about on the show.
Right.
Itself.
The actual characters of themselves. And if you do not have Cliff Huxtable on your mountain, you, sir or madam, are doing it wrong. It's not close. At me all you want. Cliff Huxtable is the man, and I'll leave it at that. So yeah, I definitely got Cliff Huxtable on the mountain. TV dads, man, wow, you're coming out of nowhere with this one. TV
Double
dads,
drop.
Seriously, right? And this one, Judge Philip Banks has to be on the list. Why you white guy having two black dads on it? Because good parenting knows no color. Okay? Phil Banks is my dude. Are you kidding me? I don't give a damn that he voiced Shredder. You not only do you separate art from the artist, you separate art from other art. Fine, you voice the Shredder, but you put Justice down as Judge Philip Banks. When you were talking to young Will, and listen, somebody had to try to get Carlton White. Hillary, I get it. She was out of control. Let Viv handle that. But at the end of the day, Philip Banks was not only a successful politician, a morally proper politician, which, I mean, that's how you know it's fiction. Am I right? And somebody who always had the right thing in mind and had everything, every good dad. Hell, I like to think I have it too. Whether I'm a good dad depends on who you ask. But had that moment where you could give that look and the game is over. Definitely Judge Philip Banks on that one too. Man, you see, this is the problem with TV categories is there is a big ass gamut that you have going on there too, man. Like I mentioned Home Improvement in one of our other shows. Ain't no way I'm putting Tim the Toolman Taylor in there. My dad should not be in the emergency room more often than Evel Knievel. Okay, that's my feeling on that. I'm sorry, you can't have that. Man, you got me definitely pull. It's like, let's see if Kyle can pull this one from the hip. But yeah, so I got two of them in so far. I think those are strong choices. I got nods from Danny Thompson. I'm pretty sure Precious would even approve. But let's get my other choices in here right quick. You know what? I'm going to give a shout. Sure, the show for the most part was pretty terrible. I mean, I still watched it a lot, but I was young. I didn't know better. Whatever. I'm going to give Danny Tanner a shout. That's right. I said it. How many single fathers do you see having to handle business? And oh, by the way, he has how many girls? And he's making all that work. Not to mention, you know, Uncle Jesse's living up in his crib. Uncle Joey's all up in there. They're trying to keep their lives together under his roof too. And somehow the dude has the house clean to the point where if I wanted to, I could eat off the toilet seat. I'm not going to because it's a toilet seat. But Danny Tanner put in that work. I could see my reflection in the table, and there's no plate on there. Anyway, so Danny Tanner's definitely got to get a nod from me just for getting all the extracurriculars and the tough situation of being a single dad on top of all of that. No one thought of it that way before, but I just did. You're welcome. And man, wow. I got to come up with a fourth one. TV dads. See, this is the tough part about being put on the spot. Hey, I look at it this way. At least I give Bobby time to put together his list, right? Now, man, so I'm trying to think of all this because there's too many shows where the dad is just dirty. You know what? But I'm going to go another direction here that needs to be given props. Dan Connor from Roseanne is
okay.
Cut here. When it was time to throw down, he did throw down. But in a household where, I mean, of course she ran the household. She's the title of the show. But that man was an excellent SO to a submarine ship that was running a particular way. Okay, now granted, there was some dysfunction in that house. But at the end of the day, the parents kept that shop afloat because, listen, in that household, they were dealing with a lot of other stuff that was greater than some of the other things they came across. Sure, their kids were a bit unorthodox, but I'm not prepared to tell you that that's necessarily a parent's fault. They always guided them in the correct direction, in my opinion. And Dan Connor did everything he could to support an empowered woman leading the household. Dan Connor, the fourth is for those keeping track: Cliff Huxtable, Judge Philip Banks, Danny Tanner, and Dan Connor.
All right. Woo. Bobby, who's your 4?
Wow, I'm gonna go old school and say Mike Brady.
Okay.
I have a twofer. I got Ed O'Neill as the dad for Married with Children and Modern Family. I mean, come on, he's that old, that hot of a wife. It counts for something.
That just means you were playing. That don't make you a good father.
I think he had his way, as an old father with a young child and stuff. And staying in the same show, I think Phil Dunphy was just like the best father I've seen on TV in years. The way he cared about his family and whatnot, and being a dad. Oh, geez, one more, Cliff Huxtable has to be.
All right. See, Bobby with the Mike Brady one's actually a good one, by the way. I mean, listen, he had like 47 kids in the house. You got to listen.
See, that means he was making bad father decisions up front, allowing his sons to shack up in a situation like that. I'm just saying.
And
all
Tiger.
Right. All right, so my Mount Rushmore TV dads. All right. So, of course, Cliff Huxtable is like easy. I think there's 2 automatics in this list. Cliff Huxtable is one. All right. Sweater, successful, ran a whole household. I mean, was a doctor. I mean, the man also delivered a submarine sandwich on the show. What more can you ask for?
That's a fact.
All right. Philip Banks is like 1B. If Cliff Huxtable is 1A, Philip Banks is 1B. If any scene happened on Fresh Prince where he went in and and when Will lost all his money playing pool, and he grabbed that pool stick and literally beat that pool shark's behind,
that was fun.
I'm all for it. All right. I'm going to go a little different direction on mine. My number 3 arguably is one of the funniest TV dads ever.
Uh-oh.
And rest in peace to Jerry Stiller, but Frank Costanza.
Oh, man.
Frank Costanza arguably is one of the funniest characters you're going to find. And anybody whose son is George Costanza, listen, Festivus for the rest of us. That's all I have to say. It's a Festivus miracle.
The only grievance I would air is how much of the damage was caused by the senior Costanza. That's my
listen. He created George Costanza and Festivus. That's all you need to know. All right. And number 4, and this was a hard one because I went back and forth between Al Bundy. Al Bundy. Listen, I have a special place for Al Bundy. Bundy was a shoe salesman. My mom sold shoes. Well, my mom was a shoe store manager. So the stories Al Bundy told, and I worked in a shoe store growing up, okay? The story Al Bundy told about shoes and women's feet and everything else, I lived that life. My mom lived that life. I grew up in that life, all right? So that will always hold a special place. But for me, number 4 on the list, listen, you got to go with old school and James Evans from Good Times, all right? I'm going old school. Good Times, James Evans. Listen, up until he died, any man that can control JJ, Michael, and the entire family and put it on his shoulders, listen, he carried it. He basically, I will say this, he carried it like LeBron did when he won the championships. He put the whole family on his shoulders, all right, and did everything. Up until until his character died off on the show, there was nothing James Evans could do.
I'll raise you this, Danny Thompson. In that case, if you're comparing him to LeBron and putting it on his shoulders, like the Warriors acquiring Kevin Durant would be kind of like Fonzie moving in with him for a little bit, and he kept the Fonz under control. That's talent.
Listen, James Evans, if you're going to go old school, you got to have that old school dad somewhere. We said Cliff Huxtable's old school. I would even say that if you look at James Evans, he is the Wilt Chamberlain of his time. Because people who've never seen Wilt Chamberlain don't know the athletic feats of Wilt Chamberlain, how athletic he was. James Evans was that type of dad. If you didn't watch Good Times or know about Good Times, you might want to go grab the DVD set. Quarantine is still going on. Watch Good Times. So, James Evans, Frank Costanza, Philip Banks, and my main man, Cliff Huxtable. That's my 4. And that's the Mount Rushmore of TV dads. Kyle, any shout-outs before we go?
Hey, listen.
Hey, guys, real quick. I got to give some props to Rodney there. Because Walter White built a whole empire because he wanted to take care of his family.
Yeah.
Who does that?
And look what kind of damage it did to Walt Jr. No, I'm out.
Sean Johnson in the chat said Uncle Phil, James Evans, Cliff Huxtable. But Sean, where's the 4th one? You left out. You got 3. But we need 4. But yeah, Walter White was one, and other ones I thought about was Carl Winslow.
Carl Winslow, he does get an honorable mention. That's true.
Carl Winslow's got to get honorable mention somehow in all this. But
thing, man, I can't sign up.
Ghost, really? All right. That's from Power. I'm not even going to go there with that. Kyle, before we go, any shout outs?
Hey, listen, shouts to Bobby Blackjack for handling things behind the scenes once again. And quick shouts, anybody in the Florida area who is going to soon be facing the Lions Den, with schools opening back up here soon. Stay healthy and safe as you can, and we support you.
Bobby, any shout outs before you go?
Yeah, great show as always. Back to the road, back to work. I'm good.
And like I said, once again, thank you for everybody in the chat room. My main man, Sean Johnson, Rodney Richardson, my girl, Precious Sherrod up in Virginia. Like I said, all the people who liked, shared, and commented on the show.
Hey, no, Rodney, he didn't say the word kittens one time during the show today.
I think I said it once.
Oh,
kitty, kitten. All right. That's my 10 kittens for the night. All right. But big shout outs to everybody in the chat. Everybody like, share, save the show. And so, like I said, we'll be back on Monday night. We'll have more about the bubble. We'll also talk about the WNBA's opening weekend. They tip off on Saturday. Like I said, if you're looking for basketball, you have plenty of it. You have bubble basketball in 2 locations. Also, Major League Baseball is kicking off as well, too. Like I said, opening night's going on right now. And last but not least, of course, most importantly at the same time, if the Louisville Police Department, Louisville Police Chief, once again, it's been 133 days since Breonna Taylor's life was taken from her for no apparent reason, and the killers are still out there. Please go get the killers that killed Breonna Taylor. So for myself and Kyle Nash and everybody here at I-95 and Zingo Television, we'll catch you guys on Tuesday night. Peace out.